Hello, my name is Amy Huck, and I'm a Title II instructional specialist for Montgomery County Public Schools, and I also work very closely with National Board Certification. The purpose of today's presentation is to unpack the blueprint, the why behind the blueprint, where the blueprint came from, and what was the thinking in regard to this law as it relates to National Board Certification and teacher compensation and eligibility in Maryland. So the work really began by the state of Maryland in 2016, deciding it wanted to really take a deep dive and a deep look into how are students performing in the state of Maryland, K through 12. And their task, the task of the Kerwin Commission in this endeavor was to compare the state of Maryland and education against the best and the highest performing districts of the world, to really take a look at what's happening here, what's happening in those highest performing districts, and what are the areas for improvement in the state of Maryland. So in the beginning, the work was to really look at K through 12 education in the state of Maryland and to see what was going on there, and then to start to determine which were the highest performing districts of the world. And what the Kerwin Commission found was that the districts in Finland, Singapore, Ontario, Canada, Shanghai, China, and also the state of Massachusetts were determined to be those highest performing districts in the world. So the Kerwin Commission took a look at those districts to see what is happening there and how does it compare with what's happening here in the state of Maryland. So this was really groundbreaking and is very groundbreaking work in the United States of America. And Maryland at this time is pretty exciting for Maryland State Department of Education to really be pushing the envelope for what education looks like, not just in the state of Maryland, but how that could impact in the United States as a whole. So after performing this gap analysis, what they found is that Maryland students are performing at or below the median among the 50 states in reading and math. So we're not doing so great. Bottom of the pack, right? The bottom half of the pack in the country. Maryland is actually considered the 15th most regressive state in terms of school funding equity. So this is how we're using our funds to meet the needs of our highest need students. Maryland has unacceptably large achievement gaps based on race and income. There's a severe teacher shortage and retention problem here in Maryland, and only about 40% of high school graduates are meeting college and career readiness standards. So as a result of those findings, let's compare it now with the highest performing districts of the world. What they found was that these districts that I mentioned before promote complex ways of thinking and learning, pay teachers more than the US. In these countries, teaching in these districts, teaching is more intellectually attractive, meaning there's high degrees of professional support, feedback, collaboration, multiple opportunities for advancement, leadership, mentoring, research, decision-making. So there's a lot of opportunities for leadership within teaching, while teaching, that we don't really have in the United States without being in administration. There's more planning time for teachers in these high-performing districts, less preps. It was found that Maryland teachers spend about 80% of their time in front of the classroom. In the top-performing districts, it's no more than 60%. In these high-performing districts, class sizes are larger than the state of Maryland. They have universal early childhood education. CTE is very important. And there are more teacher and school leader autonomy. So these were some of the things that were found. As a result of the findings, again, I just gave a very brief overview of those findings. The blueprint was created. And the blueprint was created to rest on what were the recommendations of the Kerwin Commission in regard to what the state of Maryland needs to do to address these gaps. Again, these gaps being between our practices and the practices of these highest performing districts of the world. So you can see here on the image on the screen that there are 5 pillars going across. We have pillar 1, early childhood, pillar 2, high quality and diverse teachers and leaders, pillar 3, college and career readiness, pillar 4, resources to ensure that all students are successful, and finally pillar 5, governance and accountability. So within each pillar, you can see here on the slide some ways that the blueprint is pushing the state of Maryland and requiring the state of Maryland to make change. Okay, so you can take time to read that. Go ahead and pause the video if you would like to take a look Otherwise, I'm really going to dive into pillar 2 right now, because that is the focus of our conversation. So pillar 2, calling for high quality and diverse teachers and leaders. What one of the many tasks or whys of pillar 2 is to elevate the profession of teaching and the standards for high quality teaching by increasing compensation, by creating a career ladder that provides multiple opportunities for teachers to advance within the profession of teaching, to have multiple leadership opportunities, for example, like I was talking about before, and weaving in national board certification. So that is the goal. The other goal of pillar 2 is to ensure that nationally board certified teachers, those who have been determined to have met a standard for teaching as being effective, that they're working directly with students in teaching the curriculum and grade level standards. And hopefully they are in low performing schools. You can see that the compensation is really tied to that. They want nationally board certified teachers in the classroom with students. That was really the thrust of the Kirwan Commission's recommendations. So a few of the ways that they're going to get there is by this career ladder. We don't know yet what the career ladder is, but it will be implemented next year. So this career ladder is going to have a new system of professional development. It's going to have some more non-instructional time during the day. It's going to require aspiring principals to hold national board certification. It's going to push all of us to be working toward national board certification. It's going to redefine what some of our job codes currently look like. The career ladder is going to change the way, the landscape of the way that our current leadership positions look. Again, that's going to be starting next year and continuing onward. Another thing that I mentioned was that improving compensation. So many of you on this video right now are probably already familiar with the $10,000 salary increase for eligible nationally board certified teachers. We'll talk about eligibility in a minute, but it's really prioritized around high quality teachers teaching directly to students. So that was the thrust and the why and the motivation behind that first bullet point there. And then an additional $7,000 for NBCs working in low performing schools. In MCPS, there's only 2 of them, Rika and Carl V. Sandburg, just those 2. There are a variety of salary increases that will be attached with the career ladder once it comes out. So you can see those there. And then there were some other mandates that happened as well. 10% salary increase that is happening, has started and will continue to happen through 2024, and a $60,000 starting salary increase. So let's talk about eligibility. So as I said, the real why, the thrust, the motivation of the Kirwan Commission was to get the highest quality teachers directly teaching students. And the compensation and eligibility is all tied to that. So those who are eligible for this $10,000 salary supplement, they define that as a teacher of record or co-teacher, including special ed and ESOL, who delivers instruction and is responsible for a student or group of students' academic progress in pre-K through 12. So what we're talking about here are those who are teaching the curriculum standards, the grade level standards for areas in which grades are assigned, grades are reported, and that they're doing this at least 60% of their time, 180 days of the year. If you read this and you say to me, Amy, this leaves out teacher leaders like staff development teachers, reading specialists, staff development teachers, their job description clearly states that they're working to develop to develop teachers, right? They're working with teachers, supporting teachers. It doesn't include that. They want nationally board certified teachers teaching the students in the class, and those who are leading other teachers who are not teaching students in class, who are not assigned groups of students, reporting grades, teaching the curriculum, at least 60% of their day are not included. This link right here shows you the list of eligible job codes in Montgomery County Public Schools. You'll also be able to find this on the MCPS Nationally Board Certification website. Any job code that's not listed here is not included. So only the ones listed here are included. Okay. You can see on this slide here all of the resources that were visited in the creation of this presentation, the information that was shared. I'm also going to share with you a resource board. If you are interested in learning more about the Blueprint for Maryland's Future, you can open this resource and you're going to see here resources under each pillar that you can do some more studying and learning about the Blueprint for Maryland's Future and its impact on public school education. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I hope that this presentation was helpful to you.